Black Lives Matter is the culmination of this racial divide. Every other hate group in America is widely condemned. They're the only group dedicated to division, segregation, and racial hatred. Oh, stop the press is a gay man's catty. Good Lord. No speech. Oh dear, oh dear. Let me tell you, sir, fat shaming works. Of course it works. I mean, who would ever imagine that fat shaming wouldn't work? Like somebody you love, so do I look hot in this? No, not anymore. You'd stop eating. And in fact, all the studies suggest.
Try me, bitch.
All right, sweetheart.
And here we go.
Criminologist Dr. Richard Johnson from the University of Toledo. You want some facts? Here are some. Based on the 2012 numbers, it would take 40 years worth of blacks killed by police to equal the total number of blacks murdered by police in a single year. 900 people have been killed by cops in 2016. 47% were white males. Only 24% were black males. Black men are not killed out of proportion, especially considering that they're much more likely to interact with cops. People are killed by police about as often as they're killed by lightning. There are no protests about storms. Black males are 58% of those killed legally by private citizens in self-defense. You might think that's an aha moment about racist whites, but 75% of those were killed by other blacks. FBI statistics on murder lay bare the real threats to black lives in America. Black men are about 6.5% of the US population, but they commit 52% of all murders over a 30-year period, which has dipped to about 40% in recent years, but still horribly and vastly disproportionate. Black men overwhelmingly murder other black people. Whites overwhelmingly murder other whites. That's not the narrative from Black Lives Matter. Looking at overall violent crime, blacks are 27 times more likely to attack whites than vice versa, and 8 times more likely to attack Hispanics. That's a shocking number I hope you take away from my visit. 90% of blacks that die from murder die at the hands of other black people. Is that enough fact?
Mama.
Yo, what's up boys and girls? So quickly before this video starts, today's notification shout out goes to Pinky00707. Thank you. Thank you for hitting that bell button. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you do, make sure to leave a like and leave a comment down below. If you guys write angry SJW in the comments, I'll give one of you a shout out in tomorrow's video.
Most people that have guns don't use them on other people. You said if you have a gun, you're going to use it.
Well,
you don't.
What's that old saying? If you have a gun, you better be able to use it?
Yes. Most people are overwhelmingly good.
Okay, yeah, well, but most people have a gun. 350 million Americans. There are 310 million guns.
Right, that doesn't mean that most people have a gun. It doesn't distribute exactly that.
But,
wow.
You know, people, are blaming violence in movies and videos
on this. Well, that's insane. That's insane.
No, really?
It's
what is it called? Art of War, Man of War? What do the kids play?
Call of Duty.
We don't allow that in our house. Really? So busy buying Call of Duty. There needs to be more hugs in households.
Those aren't mutually exclusive. Well, nothing in Call of Duty says you can't hug your family.
Well, you know what? This boy's favorite game pen was Call of Duty.
Yes, and many peaceful people.
Do you ever look at someone and wonder what is going on inside their head?
When the same thing... Call of Duty is the most popular game there is. Everyone's playing it, so of course bad people are going to play it too.
Yeah.
To try to blame Shakespeare and the violence in Shakespeare and the violence in art for violence that happens in the real world is something that's been tried for years and is always wrong. People must take responsibility. We must stop blaming society and actually blame the perpetrator.
Yeah, you know what?
Call of Duty is something that young people like and enjoy, and it's a game.
I think
and most of those people are violent. Most of the people are violent.
We need to take responsibility for our own houses.
And we have to stop disliking our children. We attack comic books. We attack monster movies. Now we're attacking video games. Love our children and know that they can play.
Take care of your household.
Let them play.
Jamie Foxx Foxx is one of the only celebrities that
Jamie
tweeted
Foxx
out.
is wrong.
Well, he says
Dead
we cannot turn our backs and say that violence in films or anything that we do doesn't have some sort of influence. It does. I go along with that.
Blame the killers. Why not blame the killers?
Well, some of the
Do
killers
not
learned their
blame the
killing
artists.
through movies.
Blame the killers, not the artists.
All right.
Why are you blaming artists for something that bad people did?
And it's-
Shakespeare is not a bad person. He wrote beautiful stuff. It has suicide, it has murder, and it tells us something about our hearts. And people who watch Shakespeare don't kill. And Call of Duty is art. It is not some sort of propaganda thing. And that's an easy way
How
out.
about this? This is a case of violence with guns, video games, and mental health. Now, here's a kid who was borderline autistic with Asperger's. They have a lot of social problems.
But
They don't know how to...
no
they don't
violent
interact.
problems.
No. Autistic
People
kids are
saw
usually
things
victims. My
in
point is that if you sit this kid in a room all day shooting people, if they have no social
How
skills...
do you know
when they-
that?
Because
You're just making
it's
that
been...
up.
Well, it's
He
been
had no
reported.
social
No, it hasn't been
It's been reported.
There's no evidence that Asperger's syndrome people go violent from playing
No,
games.
this is
You
not
have
about
one- You have
Asperger's.
not one data point of evidence on that.
I'm not saying that.
Well, you just said it.
Well,
Lying.
let me try to be
Okay,
clearer.
please.
Here's a person who has troubles figuring out what's social and what's not. And he's inundated with shoot, and then
Right.
a little plan comes across, well, maybe I'll just go to school and shoot people.
You've just done cause and effect where it doesn't exist.
There's no guilt, there's no guilt, there's no
That's
conscience.
not true that there's no guilt and no
He
conscience.
wouldn't make eye
That's not
contact with his
Asperger's.
barber.
Please don't tear those people apart.
I'm
I
not
have
trying
good
to
friends
tear-
with
they are very
Asperger's.
intelligent
They have
people.
they have conscience. They have empathy. All of that is not true. You're spreading lies about people who are part of our society and that we need to love and take care of and share.
I'm really shocked at the tone of this debate and how we're talking about immigrants as if somehow they're not real people. The people who came over after the war, my family were part of that wave of people. I'm proud to be British and part of the European community, part of, a giant society of people trying to work to make each other's countries better. I think, we seem to have forgotten that Britain is also supposed, I hope, to be a compassionate nation, a humane nation. That is the Britain I'm proud of, and I want that country back.
We knew what we voted for in leaving the EU. Why are Remainers making out constantly that we are uneducated people that didn't understand Brexit and what we were doing?
And obviously that's what you feel.
Yes.
You feel it.
I feel we knew, I read everything, I looked into everything. It's how I felt, and I did the old-fashioned pros and cons in writing, and I wanted to leave. But people now are making out as if we're uneducated, as if we don't know what we were doing. And I just think they need to stop doing that.
Anybody else who feels that, incidentally, throwing things at the television or shouting at it is an occupational hazard of watching Question Time. You, sir, the man behind, do you agree with her?
Yeah, I'm one of those people. I find it absolutely abhorrent that people like you come on the end and call that the British people, we lack compassion. You're essentially calling us fascist and racist just because we have concerns about immigration. I'm a primary school teacher and I've worked at various schools where... Yes, but unfortunately that's exactly the tone that we're taking. I've worked at various schools where English is genuinely not the first language on the playground. Not between the children, but by the parents. Quite often, you go around, because once upon a time, people came to this country and gradually integrated and were welcomed. We're a very welcoming nation. But when you get a massive influx of people all coming at the same time, that's what people have a problem with. That's when we get concerned when we go to the doctors and we can't get appointments. You go down to A&E and it's full. Now, people may turn around and say, no, that's racist, that's fascist, that's not acceptable. But 18 million people, just like that lady says down there, we knew what we were voting for, we know what we want to get out, and the sooner we start in trigger Article 50, the better.
Laurie first. No, you go first. Laurie, keep it short, so we must move on.
All right, to try and answer both of your questions. Look, firstly, I don't believe that people who voted Brexit are stupid. I think, unfortunately, some people may have been lied to and manipulated, and that is not the
I should have let you. What the fuck?
Let's talk about Harvard this morning, shall we? Because a liberal student there, Sandra Cohn, has penned a piece which is raising the eyebrows of a number of individuals this morning. She had written a piece around the idea that we should get rid of academic freedom in favor of academic justice. She is sick and tired there at Harvard of dealing with research that comes out, which may counteract her own viewpoints of life. She can't stand when academic research comes out that doesn't support her liberal ideology.
Yeah, she's a senior there, and the title of this piece is "The Doctrine of Academic Freedom. Let's Give Up on Academic Freedom in Favor of Justice." She's a women's studies and gender equality and that type of advocate as well. Well, if our university community opposes racism, here's what she says: sexism and heterosexism, why should we put up with research that counters our goals simply in the name of academic freedom? Instead, I would like to propose a more rigorous standard, one of academic justice. When an academic community observes research promoting or justifying oppression, it should ensure that this research does not continue.
In other words, the truth, when it's inconvenient, should be squelched. There's a name for this. It's called fascism. And what's amazing is this girl is a senior, as you just said. This is the fruit of a Harvard education. After 4 years at Harvard, you conclude, or she has, that the truth, when inconvenient, ought to be suppressed. If she had absolute power, how many people would die? Many.
Well, what's interesting is that one of the pieces is she talks about specifically with some research that came out of the university from one professor around rape and how women, this professor said, they should be more modest, and that would stop rape because women need to be a little bit more modest. She took umbrage with that, as I think many people would, that it was somehow a woman's fault to be raped. And she said we should rally. Students should rally and make sure that this professor never gets published at this university again. What's wrong with rallying? That's what a university system does, right? A free-throw of ideas.
Right, so women who wear sexy lingerie or wear a short skirt deserve to have sex taken from them, stolen from them. Doesn't make any sense. But I will say one thing. The way that she opens this piece is about a Harvard professor back in the 1970s who writes a piece called IQ. He gets a lot of backlash for it because he says that IQ is based on hereditary almost entirely, and it varies by race in particular. And there was backlash about it, and that's something that should be. But this seems just ridiculously extreme to get rid of academic freedom and instead have academic justice.
Again, this is what fascism looks like. I mean, the point of a university of free inquiry is to get to what is true, not to what makes you feel good, not to what's expedient or useful politically in the moment, but to what is absolutely true based on science, the scientific process. That's the whole point.
Right.
And so she's basically not just attacking things that she doesn't like politically, she's attacking the very notion of a liberal education.
Right.
It's scary.
The free flow of ideas. You can have disagreement. You can rally and say that you disagree with it, but then to make sure that a professor is never published again by the university press, this academic research is then squashed.
The whole point of tenure is, right, we have tenure in college, the whole point is professors can say things that are unpopular but are true, and this is a safe place for them to do it. And she's basically saying, and I think a lot of people on the left feel this way.
Let us know what you think about this. Friends at FoxNews.com. Go to our Facebook page as well. FF Weekend over there.
You just said that you wanted to engage in the values of America. What are they?
Easily. Responsibility.
That's a value.
Hard work. That's what American dream is all about.
It's responsibility.
You work hard. Hey, being a 5'4" Asian guy in this world is not easy, okay?
Being a black man in America is not easy, but no, but wait, let me clarify some shit for your ass, because you want to bring up 5'4" and Asian. Because let's clearly say this: Asian model minority, Asian people. You were placed in that position by the government because they felt bad once they did determine. And there have been sociologists, psychologists. I know.
You're a victim.
But you would not know. There's no difference in the delineation at one point. There was no difference in the system.
He just said there's a center.
I didn't ask you. I asked him. You're the same guy from last time. I'm not talking to you.
Oh, that's nice. Dismiss people. He just explained it to you, and then you talked all over him. You railroaded him.
You're the same guy from last time.
He just explained it to you.
I'm almost certain.
Can I explain?
Hold the cops.
Yeah. I got that one on camera. I remember that one.
That's fine.
But you got
this is
I'm not. Hey, how you doing? What's going on? You like it?
Talk to him.
I'm good.
Talk to him.
I love cameras, by the way. I'm
Yeah.
good, like,
Continue.
Like the
Quit
good
deflecting.
It's very constructive for me.
Jesus. Okay.
My parents did not know how to speak English, so what did they do? They worked as a janitor that cleaned toilets, all with the thought of making my life better as they bring me up through education. And then as they were able to save enough money, then they were able to go to night school to learn basic English and tool, and they were able to work at a CBS to develop film. So that was their next piece. Okay? So as an immigrant, that's your responsibility to quickly work hard to be self-sufficient, to give back to the country that allows you to come in here.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. Now, the reason why I voted for Trump is I want that accountability back. Now, the message that I get from the progressive movement is that we're all victims all the time. If I'm a minority and I'm not successful, it's the white person that has been pushing me down. If I'm white and not successful, it's the 1% that has taken advantage of me. That's their victim mentality. The other thing is, if a kid that goes in school and shoots somebody, you know what they don't blame the kid. They blame the teachers for not identifying that, oh, that's a troubled kid Joe was.
Never heard somebody blame teachers for that.
Oh my God, I heard that.
I want us to circle back to your point.
It's victimhood. It's never your responsibility. And that's what I feel like this new voice, what he's saying is, we're going to make America great. And part of what I think America great is taking responsibility by giving you opportunity. No, I do not live in a
So how do you make something great?
By having everybody take accountability for their lives.